All right, everybody, welcome back to Coffee and Art in December. Yeah, we try to have some fun in December and have, just some happy, I know everybody has different things going on in their lives and different times of the year are sad for some people. So I told Hubster the other day when I posted the picture of, Eileen the Enabler Elf and Bridgeton the Sock Monkey. I posted a picture of them. I do all kinds of things with them at Christmas. Eileen the Enabler Elf, and now Bridgeton is her partner in crime. And I was telling Hubster that, I'd like to try to make the world a little happier place. So I try to be positive here in our Ustream, and especially in December when there's people that it's a really sad time for, just to try to have a little smile and cheer them up a little. So I try to do fun things with the elves throughout the month. And yeah, so links are open. Y'all post whatever sites y'all want. And I'm going to finish a color book page. I'm going to try to zoom in and try to get as clear as I can with the lighting as it is in here, and talk a little bit about some of the supplies and things. I'm also working over in the Brothers Grimm coloring book. This is the first thing I've even done in this book, and I just used some of the cheap. Let me get all my markers and things handy here. So when I use markers in the color books, again, you have to realize they're going to come through on the thinner pages. Some of the pages, like the Doodlers Anonymous book, are very thick, and you can use the water-based markers in this book without it going through. I don't I don't have any Copics, and Copics and will go through practically any of these color books. So you got to be aware of that. And if you have a one-sided color book page like this, make sure if you're using markers that are going to go through that you put something behind it so that it doesn't go on to the next page. Some books, even the Doodlers Anonymous, I'm not sure I would try Copics on that, even though it's pretty thick. I'd say it's probably about, I don't know, it's probably, I don't know, it seems heavier than 60, but not quite 90. I don't know. But I would still be, careful if you were going to try to use any kind of Copics. Um, she wants to make one for her grandson. Oh, well, Bridgeton gifted that one he turned up from Amazon on my porch one day. And so ever since then, Bridgeton and E.T. have been fast friends. So anyway, but I'll use just these cheap, they're called super tips, and they have this kind of tip on them. And what I like about them, they're just Crayola, water based. 50 of them, normal regular price is like $10, $9.99 for 50. And then if you use a coupon, you can get it for like $6. Okay, so and I don't want to write on here. So what I like about them is you can get a broad tip, you can get like a kind of a medium tip, and you can get a fine line tip just by the way you angle the tip, and that's why they're called super tips. And again, they're not watercolor markers. In other words, they're not blendable markers. They're water based. Okay, but they're just cheap Crayola, and I just love them for color books as a base under my color pencil, or sometimes just as an area to color in, and then I'll shade certain areas, or sometimes just leave the marker. The other markers that are real inexpensive are these. These are the Recollection brand from Michaels. I think there's 24 in it, and some of them have, like the blue has two blues. Um, I think there's two purples that are the same. And I think there's a couple that are double, but mostly they're all 24 different colors. And what I like about these, now they're not going to last forever, these especially. My super tips last a long time. This is two sets of them in here. Um, but these, what I like about them, hey, Vicky, what I like about these markers Hang on, guys. Whoops. Whoops. Hang on, guys. I got my... Get my chat back. One moment. There we go. Get my scroll. You could blend them with alcohol. No, not the water-based. I wouldn't, especially in color books. I would test anything like that out on some cardstock. But again, most color books, other than Doodlers Anonymous, which is a pretty thick one, and a couple others, I think the garden one, the artist edition garden, is like on watercolor paper, but most of them are pretty thin. I mean, like not much thicker than, copy paper. So you really got to be careful on that. But you can test them, and every book is different. Every paper is different. No, I was trying not to kick you out, Vicki. I was trying to make you a mod. Okay, so anyway, the Recollection brand, I think there's 24 colors. What I like about these is the tiny little brush. They are very pointy. Again, now, these are only $4.99 regular price. So, and Recollections is the Michaels brand. And again, they're only $5 for all these. So you know they're not going to last forever. The tips are probably going to wear down pretty quickly. But they're good for those tiny, tiny little pointy areas. Okay, and there's a little hair or a little fuzz on that one. But I thought, I'm going to go ahead and get these for $5, even if they only last me one page. Too slow. Oh, I must have missed something. Too slow. Did you already mod her? I mean, I modded her, but I think, did I mod her after you modded her, Carrie? Anyway, so that's another option for just some cheap markers, okay? I don't have any Copics. I don't use Copics, although Jess has given me a link to some good bargains on Copics. Just like Eileen, the Enabler Elf, is enabling me in the Caran d'Ache Luminance color pencils. But these are the markers that I use for color books, okay? Just the cheap Crayola super tips and these Recollection brand little brush tip ones. And most of my coloring, even when I color with markers, I go back over them and shade them with color pencil. I do use the Prismacolor color pencils for the most part, although because Eileen gifted me some Luminance, I try to use those wherever I can. But I don't have enough colors to do like a portrait with them. But they are awesome pencils, but they are expensive. Okay, the Caran d'Ache Luminance are expensive. So I just use pretty much my Prismacolor. Although I do have a few other options. So let me just kind of review some of the color book options real quick. Dang, Morgan. Morgan, I hope you didn't get, that's okay, but if you do put too many links at once, you will automatically get kicked out by the bot. So don't blame Carrie if you flood the channel and you get kicked out. It's the bot. Yes, I know Kathleen is really wanting us to shop today. So anyway. But that is just to say, if you are new here and you're posting in chat, if you post like a big flood of text, the bot will automatically kick you out. So yeah. Thanks, Pam. Pam just posted one little link for her. Okay. So let me show you some of the other things that I use quickly in color books because I am going to want to color. This is the page I'm working on, and I'm photographing it in stages. So this is the one I'm working on now. And I'll go over how I've done everything so far, but just to let you see what I'm working on, and I'm going to finish this page today. Okay. So I do use a lot of times a base of acrylic paint. Washes and sometimes the backgrounds, like a black background, I'll use salt, just not watered down. I love Americana, Deco Art Americana. It just has a lot of cool colors that I like. It's just my favorite craft paint. You can get them for like a dollar, and sometimes they're on sale for 50 cents. And at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, probably Joann's or wherever. But anyway, I'll use these watered down for washes, and then sometimes just as a background, the sky, or in this case, like the water, a solid, not watered down. Yeah, Eileen. Um, That's okay, Morgan. Don't worry about it. I just don't want Carrie to get yelled at for kicking somebody out when she didn't do it. Okay, so anyway, that's the craft paint, acrylic matte craft paint, not the satin, not the gloss, just the plain flat matte acrylic craft paint. It doesn't have to be Americana, but make sure it's not gloss. Okay. Then I use my color pencils, and here's some different brands. All these are my Prismacolors. I love the Prismacolor blendability and softness of the lead, even though there is a quality control issue with some of the wood and some of the centering of the lead. But I'm not going to get into dissing Prismacolor today. Not today. But I also, because I do portraits with color pencil, I bundle my pencils and I just refresh them all. I put them all back together because as I'm using them, I have a separate tray when I'm using some certain colors, like for a portrait or whatever I'm doing. I have a separate tray that's my I'm using this right this minute tray. This is just my tray of all the different kind of pencils that I have. Even though this isn't all of them, I have some in the tens, like my ones that Eileen gifted me. So this arrived last week during the stream. She sent me the Luminance, Caran d'Ache Luminance, a set of 20, and they live in a home. They have their own home. They are they're in a cushioned, padded house because they're expensive. So they live in there. They live in the box. Okay. So anyway, I bundle them up by color because it's easier for me to find them when I am, hey Mac, when I'm using them. It's easy to just take a bundle and go like this and find a color that I want to use rather than digging through a bunch of loose ones. And I also don't do well when hundreds of pencils are in some kind of the little pencil holder things, although those are great for travel, the travel pencil thing with all the little elastic slots. Those are great to store them in. But when I'm using them constantly, 8 hours a day, that just doesn't work. Putting them back in each one of the little slots. This is just much easier for me to do this, find the color I want. So I have them bundled up, dark reds and browns, reds, yellows, all the greens. I even sometimes have had these in light green and dark green, metallics, browns and tans, light purples. I have another one here with dark purple, pinks, oranges, flesh tones. These are what I use for my portraits mostly. I'll grab a pink, a red, a tan, a brown. But anyway, those blues. So that's how I store my Prismacolor pencils and how I use them. And but that's not the only pencils that I have, and it's not the only ones that I use. But this is the bulk of what I use, okay, especially when I'm doing portraits. But for color book pages, I'll use a little of everything, and I'll mix and match things. There's also the Prismacolor. Now, this is an older set. This one was gifted to me by Vonnie, which y'all keep Vonnie in your prayers. If y'all follow her on Facebook, y'all know. Keep Vonnie in your prayers for her health. Anyway, these are the Verithins. They're Prismacolor, but these are the Sanford. This was before it went from Beryl, Sanford, and then now it's Premier. These are some of the older ones. These are the Sanford ones, and they're the Verathins, which are the harder lead. This is the hard lead as opposed to the soft lead Prismacolors, and they're called Verathin. But now they're made by Premier as well, I guess. I haven't bought any of the new ones. These even have the metal tips, the metal ends on them, but they are hard pencils. It would be like using a probably, an I don't know, an H2 or something like that, in comparing it to a lead pencil kind of. They're harder lead. But what I like about them is they're really good for tiny, tiny little areas. Not that I do a ton of tiny, tiny areas in my color book. I am more one to, rather than go in here and color each one of those little roof tiles, I would do a wash of acrylic watered down paint, or a solid color of, say, orange, and then go back with color pencil and shade it in the red. Okay, so I do a lot of washes, or full, like, coloring a lot of, like this one right here. This is all black acrylic paint. This is blue acrylic paint. Then what I'll do, and I've left that so you can kind of see where I'm going with it. This is yellow marker on the back of this one. So I'll use different things as a background. And if y'all missed it, there's one of my, in the color book playlist, I show a chart of where I've gone over with color pencil, watercolors, acrylic paints, markers, kids watercolors, all the different mediums as a base. And then I use color pencil over them, and I show you what ones work the best. Acrylic paint, whether it's a solid color, okay, whether it's solidly painted black, or if it's a wash of acrylic paint, either one is going to grab your color pencil better than anything else, better than watercolor, better than Neocolor 2s, better than anything else. The acrylic matte flat craft paint, just black craft paint, is going to grab your color pencil awesome. So you can see I did the little circles around the little planets or moons or whatever there, with just some doodles of color pencil, yellow and orange, and that's on top of black. There you go. You can see it right there. There's a little something, a little crusty bit right there. Anyway, so it will go over the acrylic paint much, much better. Yes, if someone's asking, this is the Doodlers Anonymous book. I love this book. It's 90 different artists. And if y'all do not follow Doodlers Anonymous blog website, just put in Doodlers Anonymous and you'll find them. And you can sign in and see. I mean, there's amazing, amazing artists, just tons of them. And there's 90 of them in this book. And as a matter of fact, which one was it? It was the girl that did, where is it? The girl that did the little guy that's working on his brain. Where is he? Him. I met her on Instagram. And so we follow each other now. She did the art for this, the drawing for this guy here. Ashley Cash on Instagram, ASHLIE Cash. And she drew this. And so she commented on the coloring of it. So I said, well, you drew an awesome page. It was fun to color. Now, what I will do, because it's a doodler's book, I'll add some little touches of my own. For instance, I added these little antennae. I added some big shoelaces. I added these polka dots. So I'll add little bits of things of my own to kind of make it my own. And I'll show you the ones that I finished before we go on to coloring it. I know, Vicki is right. Vicki said if you go to their website, you'll be there forever. It does, because there's so much awesome art there. And you can follow Doodlers on Instagram. I think it's Doodlers is the name for on Instagram and on Twitter. And I think it might just be Doodlers as well on, it's Doodlers Anonymous, but to find them, they're under Doodlers on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But go follow their site. Their website is awesome. And I have shared on Facebook some of their links. You know, when they link something on Facebook, I share it. So if you follow me, you can look in my feed and find them as well. So let me show you the ones that I've colored. Oh, wait, let me finish first with the pencils and stuff, the different kinds of pencils. So that is the Prismacolor, just the regular soft Prismacolor, and the Verithin, which is the hard Prismacolor. But there's also other different kinds of things you can use. All right, there's all kinds of watercolor pencils. These are some of the watercolor. This is just a set of Prismacolor watercolor ones. These are the Albrecht Dürer Faber-Castell watercolor. These are the Derwent, and these are the old. I don't know what they look like now. I think they're not even Rexel Derwent now. But these are the they have England, Rexel Derwent watercolor spelled with a U. Some people say the correct way to spell watercolor. But this is an old set that I've had. Again, you can use watercolor pencils. You can use, I'm just going to quickly show you all the different things you can use in your color book. You can use your Inktense pencils, which are ink. This is the Derwent ink, and they are they're water soluble, but they dry their ink. It's different than the watercolor. They're more permanent. I can't say 100% permanent, but they're more permanent than a watercolor pencil. But they're very vibrant. They're very intense. Okay. There's also Neocolor 2 water soluble crayons. Now, I always stress this. Make sure you get Neocolor 2 water soluble. Neocolor 1s are not water soluble. Don't buy those and say they're not spreading with water. You have to get Neocolor 2. Thanks, Vicki, for the link to Doodlers. Yeah. Thanks, Vicki. And so they are expensive, the Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons, but they last forever. If I can get them open. This set has 84, and they last, I'm telling you, they last forever. They're so highly concentrated, and you can use them in a couple different ways. You can either just color on the where you're coloring, and then wet it. I got some water brushes here, and wet it like that. Or you can actually, if you want tiny areas, pull the pigment off the crayon and color with it like that. You can also take a porcelain tray or any kind of, porous surface, and you can mix in there. So like, let me get any, let's try to do a blue and a yellow just because you can see a green. So I can put some blue here, and let's get a darker yellow and some yellow. And with my, not that you need to with this many colors, but if you don't have a full set of these, even a few, you can mix colors very, very easily with these. I don't know if that's showing up on camera. So you can kind of see how it's making that's making like an olive green right there. Let me pull that up. Okay, it's kind of making an olive green. I didn't put a whole lot there. Okay, so you can mix them. And what's nice about this is when you're done with your tray, it'll just clean right up. Okay. Oops. You can also use all different kinds of watercolor sets, whether it's a nice set or a kid set. Those work well as a base for your color pencil in your color books. Again, and this is not just necessarily for color books. It can be for anything. Your stamped images, your digi images, just lots of different things. Okay, and of course there's always Copics, which, I'm not a Copic gal, but if you, until Jess gets a hold of me, I think, but anyway. So anyway, those are some different things that you can use as a base for your color pencil shading on top. So some of the other pencils that I have here, I gave away some of the Derwent, the Color Soft. I did not care for the Color Soft Derwents, but these are the Derwent Artist. So I have a set of these. They're just called Derwent Artist, and they're different than the Color Soft. Again, I'm not quite sure how old these are, or if they still did Color Soft replace the Derwent Artist. I'm not sure. But the Derwent Artist, these are awesome. This would probably, of course, I love the Luminance, the Caran d'Ache, but they're very expensive. These are not near as expensive. But these are the next, I really like these next to the Prismacolor as far as like all these colors that I've tried. Okay, there's also these are the Faber-Castell. I guess I would not consider, maybe they're considered their kids brand. I got these, I think, at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, one. And they're the ESC Eco brand. The Faber-Castell ESC Eco. And I'd never seen them before, and I haven't really used them a lot, but they kind of feel like, they're a little softer maybe than the Crayola brand, but these are I found them in the kids section. And they're Faber-Castell, which is usually, a really, more expensive brand. But they have a, what do you call it? Like not a, well, I guess it is kind of a triangle shape. You can feel it when you hold them. They're kind of like, they're not round. They're kind of a little bit triangular. And again, I found those in the kids section. So that's a great, you just want a basic set of color pencils just to start coloring with. Okay, hang on, guys. I kind of froze for a second. One moment. There we go. Sometimes when I get a whole bunch of incoming mail back to back, it freezes me for a minute. Okay, so, oh, hey, Paula. Really old said the person. Yeah, Eileen says her Barrel Prismacolor pencils are locked away. Yeah. I gave all my nubs, my Barrel Prismacolor nubs to Cam, and he hoards them. What I do now is usually, now these aren't, let's see, where's that tray? These aren't quite nubs yet, but they're getting to be nubs. So what I do is I just keep my nubs when they get, now these aren't, again, if these were my Barrel ones, they'd be locked away too. But I just keep them in these Prima jars. So when they get real tiny, I'll just, because I go through a lot of black and white ones. But let's see what other one here. Maybe this one can go in there. So when they get tiny, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and store this one away. We won't be speaking poorly of them today, but this sometimes happens with your Prismacolors. This is not sharpener error. This is poor quality, okay? But I still love Prismacolor because of the softness and the blendability. All right, so anyway, so I just keep them in these little jars because they look pretty. All right, so let's see, what else do we have here? I think these are the Faber-Castell. Oh, the Polychromos. Everybody that doesn't use Prismacolor usually uses the Polychromos. And again, to me, they're just not quite soft enough. Everybody loves them. Don't get me wrong. They are very, this is probably, next to Prismacolor, this would probably be the most, I'd say, popular, because they're not as expensive as the Caran d'Ache, Luminance, and some of the others. But they're not cheap. They're not as cheap as Prismacolor. I just find them not soft enough for me. But everybody seems to really, really love the Polychroma. So I have a few here that I bought. I think I bought these individually at Blick. So just FYI. That is probably the next. If you have an art supply, a Blick or a Jerry's Artorama or any of them close to you, I would suggest before you invest in any expensive sets of any of these to go in and test them. Have a little sheet of paper there and test them out and see what you like. See which ones blend for you the best. To me, the Prismacolors, I just like them. I'm used to them. I've used them since Barrel 25, 30, what is it, 30? I don't even know, 30, maybe 40 years? Can't even tell you when I got my first set of barrels. But anyway, I'm just used to them. So don't think that you can't use something different. This is just what I use. The other thing that I would recommend having is some kind of a paint pen. Doesn't have to be an Elmer's. It can be the Sharpie, but I'd recommend some kind of a paint pen that goes over markers, paint, and pencil. So for something that goes over all that, a paint pen for some highlights, or if you just have some white acrylic paint. Okay, some white acrylic paint will go over. If you want to put a highlight in an eye or something, it'll go over everything. Okay, but just to add a little bit of highlights, well, I won't go dig something else out right now, but okay, so I'm just checking chat here. If y'all have any questions, I might have missed some questions, so sorry, guys. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. So that is just a little overview of the supplies that I use, not just for color books are kind of like a new trend thing. We've had Dover type color books out for years, and clip art books, and I have a whole show on clip art color books, and I forget what it's called now. Just look in the playlist, and I've talked about the different color books. But I use all these for other, portraits and animal paintings, animal posters, and I won't get into all the art I do other than because I wanted to kind of keep this a color book show today. Hey, Robin, anybody else popping in? So let me go ahead and tell you so far what I've done let me show you the pages I've colored in the Doodlers Anonymous. Again, you need to follow Doodlers Anonymous. You need to buy the book. I just think it's awesome. Not only because there's 90 different artists, so you get all different kinds of designs. It's not just one artist, throughout the whole book. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We got 20, 30 color books going on here. But I like this one because of the variety. I also like it because the pages are on the thicker side. Okay, I like it because it's on the thicker side. So markers, the water-based markers, and it doesn't go through. Okay, so let me just kind of show you real quick. I'm going to do a flip and then I'll stop where the sun's starting to come out now, so we're probably going to get a little bit of a flash. But just so you can kind of see some of the variety of the artists, and again, they're all doodly. They're very detailed. So here's another one I'm working on. These are the umbrellas. And I work on this one a little here and there because it's all umbrellas, and I just do a couple and then I do something else. And I'll come back and do a couple more. So it's just all different people with their umbrellas. And so many color books, so little time. I say we because I did it on a stream here. And then we put Vern, right there's Vern. So that was almost done. This was the very first one I colored, and again, I like to add my own little touches to it. So I put Color Book Attic, and I did some wispy, the leaves, blowing in the breeze there. And so I'm just going to kind of flip. Here's the astronaut and kitty in space. So the thing that I did with this one is the background was already black on this one for space. I added some more little dots to it, but what I did here to make it look kind of foggy like around him, or like a glow, I should say, not fog, but a glow, is I just used white color pencil to kind of on the black that was already there. Can you tell people who can see chat to refresh? Oh, okay. If you can't see the chat, you need to hit your right click and refresh, or look on the list thing and you can refresh. if you can't see chat. Apparently some people have lost chat, and so you need to refresh. And sometimes there's a net split where we end up with two chats. People are in one and some are another. But I think that hasn't happened as far as I can see. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here. You like this one? And again, there's a lag, guys. So sometimes when you say that you ask me a question, I might not be on the right same page as you, literally. So anyway, and I put artist in space on this one, but this one has got like just white color pencil, kind of blended out to give him a glow. Okay. Little cat. And then some of the little things, again, just because they've got certain elements on the page doesn't mean you can't add to it. I did all the checkerboard on here. That wasn't on there. The little stripes and the checkerboard, the little checkers there. I just added that myself. Some of these, did little wispy colors around the edges there. And I try to accent the artist that drew it because I never want to take away from the artist that did the actual drawing because there's awesome artwork in this book. The other thing here, this is where either a white paint pen or some white acrylic paint to make it look like you could tell that like that was glass on top of the helmet there. Okay, so let me just keep going. But it's an awesome book. Yeah, I like this part. Yeah, hey AJ. So I'm just going to kind of flip through. And again, you can get this one. I got it at Books A Million. And I'm sure it's in Barnes & Noble too. But that's where I got mine, was Books A Million. Okay, so here's the little sailor. All right, so here's an example of not having to color every little fish in. What I did was a wash of paint. A wash of I want to say I used Neocolors on this, but I can't remember if it was a wash of Neocolor 2 or a wash of acrylic, watered down acrylic paint. But it's instead of coloring every little fish one by one, I colored the whole beard green. Then went back in with a couple darker color pencils and shaded. Okay, let me see if I can get that. Yeah, I'm going to try to get a grip here. And then shaded in around the fish and around the little eyes. Okay? But this is an example where you don't have to go in and color every little fish a different color. Or even separately color each one with like a green pencil. If you use a wash, it goes a lot quicker. And I'm not trying to tell you to hurry up and get through your pages or anything like that. I'm just saying that sometimes you can get bogged down in some of the tiny, tiny details if you're not careful or if you don't want to be bogged down. On his shirt, I base coated it. I think I put a light wash of blue, or maybe it's all color pencil. But over the top of that, I tried to do it like kind of cross hatching with 2 shades of blue to make it look like a jean shirt. So in other words, this is not well blended out. It's not blended out to the point where you get rid of your pencil lines. This is an example of where your pencil lines actually work for you. So to make it look like jean. I don't mean music scrap jean. I mean jeans. Denim. Okay, and again, I just put a little, this could either be a cloud, it could be a puff of something out of his pipe, but I put a little cloud around the artist, Zuzu there, to highlight the artist that drew them. I really try to, make sure that you can see who the artist is that did them. Okay. You like this page too, Linda? The town page? Yeah. This one has the boat right in the middle, so I did color in the boat. It's not completed. I just did a little wash in there to show somebody. I forget, somebody asked about using some Neocolors or something, so I just put a little wash in there. But yeah, it's a whole town there with the boat right in the middle. Okay, so let me keep going here. There's just such a variety. There's such a variety of artists that have worked in this book. And again, this is the kind of stuff you'll see over at Doodlers Anonymous. So go check out their website. Hey, Sarah O. And follow them on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere because you'll see awesome art like this. Okay? Here is my little foxy. I don't know if he's a bear or a fox. I called him Fox. I just put Foxy, and Jean goes, "I like his shorts." Actually, I was trying to make this look like underwear. He's in his socks, and so I tried to make it like boxers and in his socks. So I just put Foxy on there. Okay, so let me give you a little few things on this. All right, so um, on top of, you can go over your, if it's not too waxy of a buildup, you can take markers and go over the top. Now again, Jess has stressed, don't do this with Copics because you'll ruin your Copics. I don't use Copics, so I don't want to address that really, but other than to say that to try to go over color pencils and marker, other mediums with Copics, that I don't know enough about the Copics or what will ruin it. Like a Sharpie, if you go over with a alcohol-based Sharpie with over the color pencil and stuff, you'll dry out the tip of your Sharpie. If you've ever tried to go over acrylic paint or anything with just a Sharpie, you know how quickly it stops working. Okay, so that may be true for Copics. So don't be going over your color pencil and your other markers and mediums and acrylic paint with your Copics unless you've thoroughly tested that out and know that it's not going to ruin them. But these are just the little water-based markers. Again, if you've got too much of a waxy buildup, like I've got the sky right here is pretty waxy. You can see the shine. I did it really heavily right there with the color pencil to get it a real dark blue. And I didn't, I just wanted it dark blue. I didn't care if it's a little waxy. It's a color book. Okay. But if you go over that with your marker, your water-based markers, it's going to not dry. You'll just be able to wipe it right off. In other words, there's a wax base there. So to go over that real waxy area with your markers, it'll just wipe off. It won't dry. But over here, it's very lightly done. Color pencil, very lightly colored. In other words, there's no waxy buildup with my pencil. So the little tick marks that I made to look like grass on this hill don't wipe off. So it works on there. But you need to test that stuff out. You've never had any trouble going over waxy pencils with alcohol markers. Thanks, Ro. Okay, I just don't want anybody to ruin a $10 or $8 Copic marker on my account. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Vern? Okay, so here's the same thing. This is a base coat uh, of marker, pencil, and then I did all those little lines with the marker over the top. Okay, this is pencil and it's all shaded, and I shaded outside of the lines to make it look kind of shadowy there. So, but I would just recommend two things. One is always make sure whatever you're using is not going to go through the other side. And two, have a little test thing here next to you all the time. This is where I've painted the edges. Um, Always have a test something next to you to test what it's going to do. So before you start going over color pencil with water-based markers, make sure it's not going to just rub right off because it doesn't dry. Okay? The alcohol markers blend the wax pencil. Okay, and yours have always dried. Okay. So again, test it. Test it out. I don't use Copics in my color book, so I can't really say. But but with whatever mediums you're using as a base, whether it's acrylic paint or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to show you on this page that all these little marks and dashes and dots, I added all that. So don't feel like just because you have a white area to color that you just have to color it a solid color and that's it. Go back in there and add your own touches. I did this all funky different ways. I had the grass going one way, the grass going another, the little marks going this way and that way, and all different ways just to add some texture you know. And same thing for here and there. You add your own little doodles. You don't have, just because it's all white doesn't mean you have to leave it that way. You could add dots, you could add stars in the sky, you could add, whatever. Just don't feel like that you have to leave it just because the color book doesn't have anything else there. Doesn't mean you can't add extra things. This plaid right here, all that plaid I did. That was just solid white. There was no plaid. So I just, with markers, I did a plaid. These lines were already there. So I was trying to kind of make it an ugly, ugly Christmas sweater. So I never tried acrylic paint and wax. Okay, yeah. The acrylic paint, yeah, I know that acrylic paint will ruin a Sharpie. So you can't really write over acrylic paint very long, at least the matte. Maybe a gloss you could, but yeah. Thanks. You like the colors I use? Thanks, Eileen. So what I'm saying here is, don't just think because his sweater was white that you can't add your own patterns or whatever. And also, if you're using just white, a gray or a light blue is a great shadow color. Like on the socks right there, it's just shaded with blue. So it's not just white. And then I just shadowed under his feet. And again, you can see there's just little different. Now, the little flowers, those little flowers were already there, but I added all the grass marks and all these little lines there. I just added that. So again, don't think that you can't add stuff. You're the boss of your color book page. Sharpie brush pens will work. Thanks, Whippy. Okay, so I'm going to keep flipping here. You can just see there's just awesome different types of, because it's 90 different artists. Okay, here's another one. And this was kind of an odd one. Some people go, what? But anyway, it's like there's like a shoe, like the shoe and the laces around the rooster. And then on this one, it had kind of like a cathedral look back here. Again, this was all white. So I just kind of made it almost like a sunset type thing going on back there. And here what I did is, this is color pencil, but what you see where the shading is, I went around here. This is probably better over here. I went around the little segments in the purple with a marker. So you can use, as long as it's not too waxy of a buildup. Again, you want to test it out, and it's going to depend on your markers. It's going to depend on the waxiness of your color pencils. Some color pencils are not waxy. Whether it will dry well on top. Then I just went in and shaded. So there's a little bit of marker and color pencil all in this. Same here. So you can just see that's some red to orange to yellow. I think I used a red, 2 shades of orange, and 2 yellows, and a little bit of white. Okay. You can add you can see the blue right there, the blue on top of the white. So I really like this page too. And then I left it white down here because I wanted you to be able to see the drip here. Oh, and then in case you couldn't tell, there's a fountain pen, an X-Acto blade, or a blade, a cutting, like a wallpaper. We used to use these for cutting wallpaper. A pen and a pencil. So I tried to make them very distinct so that you could obviously see the utensils right there. And again, I spent a little time shading in all the little circuit board. And so, yeah. Okay, let me keep flipping and show you what else I've done in here. Okay, this is another one where I added a lot of my own touches. Okay, the background here was completely white, and the only designs were these little bit of swirly things up here at the top. All this is paint that I've smeared, and then I've gone in with a few little bit of color pencil accents to really define the way that the rain is going. All the splatters and the messiness of this to make it kind of look stormy, I added all this. So don't think that you can't add things. His hair, I did the little hairs blowing in the wind. His hair blowing its his I was not a flap. What do you call it? you know, comb over. Yeah, his comb over is blowing in the breeze. And then on this one, I added all kinds of extra hairs coming off of him. All the extra hairs and, shaded around his eyes to make them really pop out. So you can add all kinds of your own stuff. I added the blue here under the lightning, and then I just used 2 shades of blue. The lines were already there. The dark shadow was already there. So I just accented it really well with the blues. So the Boogie Monster. And so yeah, that's how I colored that one. And yeah, so I made sure to keep, Francisco's little name right there. I try to, make it like you can really stand out where the name stands out of the artist that drew it. But yeah, I wanted it real, almost like, he was part of the storm there. Thanks, Vicky. So let's just keep flipping here. I got a couple more that I've done. I'm really looking forward to doing her. And this is the one we're going to work on today. Finish that, but let me keep going here. I don't know. Yeah, I got a couple. I think maybe 1 or 2 more. Okay, I got a little paint. Oh, no, that's where I photographed it. I had it taped there. Okay, because I've been photographing this one as I go. Okay, and then here is the Ashley Cash little guy. And let me see if there's anything special about this one. To make this look like metal, I used a gray blue and a tan color to make it kind of look almost like a rusty tin. Okay. The highlights in his eyes, I added extra white, the paint pen right there. 3 hairs pulled back into a ponytail. Plan. And here if you leave something, you want something shiny, you really have to have a very dramatic white area like this because I want it to look like satin ribbons. So again, I've got probably 1, 2, maybe 4 shades of some browns there, all the way to white, so that and keeping it consistent across like that also gives it the dimension of his bulk. And yeah. And again, I added the antennas and I added his shoelaces. Really big shoelaces like that. So I'm going to try to hold it there so you can kind of see. And again, it's kind of, there you go, kind of flashes out with the light, the sun starting to come out outside a little bit. So again, all kinds of cool things. All right, so on this one, I think this is the last one. Let me flip through. I think that's the last one I'm done in here. Cats love hats. And then there's a whole pile of tennis shoes there. And then at the back is all the different artists. And I think they had to submit, I think there's like close to 300 or more. I totally forgot how many submitted. But they, picked 90 of their favorites to make a color book out of. So again, go over to Doodlers Anonymous website and you'll see tons of inspiration. Tons. I tell you, tons of inspiration. Okay. Yeah, his bulk. Yeah. Yes, we'll just start saying that. Yeah, bulky. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so on this one, this is by Grace. How am I going to say this? Fararegio. Okay, Grace. You can see it right there. But I left that white so that it stood out. I like the artist names to stand out. On this one, all that was on here was the little guy on the unicycle, and I colored the wheels black and white. The whole background was white. I colored the balloons, and then I added some extra little strings blowing in the breeze. This is all acrylic paint. This is just acrylic craft paint. All in the back, it's like 2 shades of blue and a white. and then little dots of white paint for the stars. And then what I did here is I just used some washes of paint to kind of make it look like he was in a snowdrift, or he could be in the clouds. Either one. He could be in a snowdrift, or he could be pedaling through the clouds. So, but yeah, so that's all acrylic paint in the background. And I just went after, I colored him first, okay? He's all colored in first, and then went over it with the paint to kind of look like, it's drifting over him. Okay, bye, Morgan. So anyway, that is all the pages I've colored. And again, I'm working on this one now. And let me tell you so far what I've done, and then I'm going to continue working on this one. The background here is black acrylic paint, and it has not, I'll see if I can catch the light. All right, see how it's, I still want to go over it with color pencil. See how it's not completely flat, even though that's a solid black paint. You can still see where it's like not 100% covered. But I did not want to do that yet. I did not want to go over the black acrylic paint with black pencil yet, because if I did that, the yellow and orange pencil would not do this. Okay, let me see if I can give you an example. I'm going to take a little minute to do a little demo. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of, oh, and by the way, Boo cleaned out like a 2-foot stack of my lids, my coffee lids that I have paint in. She spent about an hour peeling them all. She must have just had a craft moment while she was here. And I'm sorry, guys, we didn't get to stream, but we just didn't have time. The only time we would have been at night, and other people were streaming and stuff, so we just didn't get a chance to stream. And maybe at Christmas, if they're off sometime. But Boo, that's when Boo's competitions are, so it's really hard to get them down here in December. All right, so what I want to show you is I'm just going to take some black on my finger just to get some black paint on here. Okay, I want to try to rub it in good so it doesn't take forever to dry, although I can just hit it with my heat gun. So this is just all painted black acrylic paint. But what I want to show you is, let me get a baby wipe. What I want to show you is the difference of going over acrylic paint and just plain color pencil. All right, so let me get my pencils back over here. Although I think I just have a black one sitting right here. Okay, so if I had just colored this solid black with a color pencil, I just want to show y'all the difference of what can be done using acrylic paint. Okay, if I had just got to the point where that black background here was just solid black, whether I took my time and layered and layered and layered, or just pushed hard to get a solid black, I want to show you what can and cannot be done. And I know I've shown this before, but I want to show it again. So the reason that I have not blended this out yet, which I will do, I'll take my black, I don't know if you can be able to see this, I'll take my black and blend this out. It'll look like velvet when I'm done. Black pencil over black acrylic paint is going to look like velvet. But I didn't want to put the color pencil yet in the background, and I'll show you why. Let me dry that with a heat gun. Remember, you do not want to put any color pencil over wet medium of any kind, whether it's watercolor, neocolors, acrylic paint. You do not want to try to blend color pencil over black acrylic paint. Do not try it. Well, you can try it, but you'll only do it once. You want it dry. Okay, now, so what I did here around the little moons or whatever is I just took a yellow and an orange. Get a yellow. A pretty bright yellow like I was using. There we go. Yellow and an orange to give it like a little glow, So this is what I just, whoop. Okay, Prismacolor, we love you. Hang on. Okay. I won't sharpen it real sharp because I have a feeling this is going to be breaking throughout. So I just went around the little moon things here with some yellow. Let me see. Maybe I think I'm going to try to zoom in some now that we're going to start coloring. Let me zoom in and adjust my camera a little. Let me find some here. Let me get it to focus. Hang on, guys. I don't know how well that is. I think I got a little dark now. Let's see. There we go. Okay. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Well, again, gouache, I don't use gouache. I don't have a need for it. But again, test everything out. Test it out. You can go over color pencil with any of that stuff. Okay, any of it. I did a test with all the different ones. But test it out. And again, it's going to depend on your thickness of paper. You know, like in the Anamorphia, I do the wash of acrylic paint, but it wrinkles the paper. Okay, this one does not wrinkle because it's thicker. So you just have to test. Every color book is different. Every color book paper is different. Some hold up to markers. This one holds up to water-based markers. Most will not. Okay, you'll see the marker go through, which that's not a problem if it's a single-sided book or single-sided page. All right, so what I want to show you, the reason that I start with the acrylic paint and then do the doodles before I start blending it with the color pencil is this. Here is the orange on top of acrylic paint. Here's the yellow over the top of acrylic paint. Okay, hang on, guys. My camera thing flashed up there. Okay, I'm still recording, so just kind of watching it there. Okay, so there is a pencil right over a black acrylic paint. Now, this is just color pencil. Look, I'm going to push just as hard. I'm pushing even harder. I'm pushing even harder. I'm pushing with all my might on that acrylic, on the color pencil. Look, you cannot go over black pencil with your colors. All right, so this is why I use acrylic paint base. This is color pencil black. This is acrylic paint black. See? This is why I use the acrylic paint base. Whether you use it solid like this or whether you just do a wash of acrylic paint to start with. This is the result you get on top of acrylic paint. This is the result you get trying to go over black pencil. Okay, so if I would have put down my black paint here just to cover up the whole sky, and then went in with my black pencil to make it like velvet. I don't know where my pencil went. Let me get another black pencil. I don't know where it went. Here. And then would have gone all over the solid, you know, to blend out the black really nice and velvety. I would not have been able to do this. This will not go over black pencil like that. Color pencil will go over marker. Yes, I did a test. Let me see if I can put my hand right on that chart. I know it's in one of the books. Hang on, let's see. It might be in this one. Ah, here we go. Okay, I found it. I stuck it in the fairy book. Okay, so here, let me show you. Here's our charts. Here is Prismacolor color pencil over every type of thing. Okay, Here it is over acrylic, no water, a wash. This, and I just use black and white. Black and white over the top of acrylic makes these the most brightest, or the brightest, just like I did here with the yellow and the orange, over any other medium that I've done, okay, other than Copics. Again, you can do great pencil blending on the top of Copics. I don't use Copics for multiple reasons, mostly because I just don't need to in what I do in my art. And I'm not talking about just color books. So here it is over Neo 2s, a Neo Color 2 wash, concentrated. Here is just a crayon. This is a Crayola crayon, and try to go over it with color pencil. Here it is over a water-based marker, and here it is over a Sharpie. That's as far as I get with the alcohol-based markers. So here it is with the water-based marker, the Crayola Kid ones. And when I say water-based, I don't mean water color markers that blend. These are just the cheap water-based markers. Here's a Sharpie. Okay. Here it is over Kids Watercolor and the Koi Watercolor set. Here it is over Inktense, Direct Color, and then taking it off the tip with a water brush. Same thing for inks. Okay, and then here it is with color pencil. You can't even see where I went over the white with color pencil. That's white color pencil right there on top of the blue color pencil. You can't even see it. But one of the nice things about this is that's a great way to blend your color pencils because it doesn't come out perfectly white. In other words, if you want to blend some blues together with a white pencil, you get a good blend, but you're not going to get a bright white. Oh, good. You got your Packer die cards. Oh, good, Sarah. So, again, you probably want to make these kind of charts for yourself and see what your brand, whether it's Prismacolor. Again, I should make these charts with every kind of color pencil I'd ever want to use. Like if I go with the Luminance, I'm going to have to want to do these charts again with the Luminance, or with the Derwent Artist color pencil, or with the Polychromos. You want to do this with whatever color pencil, because you need to know these things, not so much just for a color book, but for any other kind of art you want to do. You want to know what happens. You want to know what happens. So I'll keep these handy because it seems like I get a lot of questions on that. All right. So again, that is the pencil over the acrylic, and this is it over just pencil. And so that is why I had not yet, I could have just painted this black and then got the nice velvety black background, but then I could not have gone on with the yellow and orange circles and had them show up. They wouldn't have shown up. And again, it's going to flash out when I get too close, but there you go. Okay. And then in the background of this is a yellow wash, very lightly, and then I've already gone over that. I've done the circles and then have shaded the first coat of yellow with yellow pencil. Oops, I got something on there again. Here, this is why you want to make sure. See that little bit of black right there? I just made a black mark right there. You always want to check, especially the light colors. You want to clean off, and there it broke again. You want to clean off the tips of your pencils before you start blending out with them, because they will pick it up. All right, let me see. One more tip is for erasing color pencil. I use the black Ticonderoga pencils. Sorry guys, I bumped the camera. For the black eraser. For me, I haven't found, and I know you can buy these black erasers in and of themselves. I think Prismacolor might make one. I know you can buy the black erasers, individually. But I just buy the Ticonderoga just for the erasers. Okay, so like where I got that black mark right there. don't, well, and I don't want to say don't try anything else. Though my favorite erasers when I'm drawing are the white plastic, whether it's the kind you put on the end of the pencil or the little triangles or the different brands. The white plastic is my favorite sketching eraser. Okay. Any kind of the white ones, doesn't matter the brand for me. I never ever I try never ever to use red rubber erasers. I have terrible luck with them. Maybe some people say, well, it doesn't do that for me. Well, then fine, use them. For me, when I use any kind of red rubber erasers, it leaves a red mark. I just don't have good luck with the red rubber eraser. So I put over my any kind of drawing pencil. Again, let me not turn off the bump. I put the white these. I never, well, that one doesn't even have one. Oh, it's stuck in there. That's a red rubber eraser. I like the white, uh, the white ones. I don't know if I can get that. There we go. I pushed it back in. Let's see if I can gently pull it out. There. There we go. I don't use these. Oh, you're welcome, Vicki. Yeah, I'm glad you got your birthday card. Yeah. And one of Packer Dye's ATCs. Yeah, Packer Dye sent us a bunch of ATCs, so I've been sharing them as often as I can. And I think today, guys, what we'll do is I will do a little giveaway here at the end. And so if you're here, thanks for being here. I'm going to do a little giveaway at the end. I try to do as many giveaways as I can, even though it's kind of a pain to do the random.org and get it all together with the lag. But we soldier on and do it anyway. Okay, so that's what the background here is. So I did a light wash of yellow. Then I did the circles. Then I did the orange circles before I went back in with the yellow um, color pencil to get the background started to go. I also drew that little lantern in. That lantern was not there. It just had one of these little star things. So I drew my own little lantern in there. And my idea here for this, and actually Cameron suggested this, my grandson. He said, why don't you put a lantern there and then have this be very light on the wood and very dark on the outside? And I said, yes, it's like this glowing. So she's like in a little forest of glow. So, in other words, when I do these two trees here, I'll do light wooded trees here. And again, see all those lines? I am not going to try to shade every little one. Now, I will do some, but I don't feel the need to go in here and do color every single line. You'll see how I do it here in a minute. Send out a PDF. Send out, oh, I don't know if you're talking to me, Jeannie. Random.org is easier the way it's easier than the way I used to do it. I used to write every single person's name down, and that was very time consuming. Okay, so anyway, I did the orange first because if I had gone over this whole thing and started blending it with yellow, the orange would not have gone on top. Okay. So now what I can do is I can go in here on top of this yellow and start blending out. I might make it a little darker right along the edge, but I really want this to kind of look like it's glowing. So I probably won't do too much shading of the yellow. Again, people, again. I won't do too much shading of the yellow because I want to keep it really bright in there. But I might put just a touch, maybe just a touch of orange. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in one more. Let's try to do one more zoomage. I'm going to zoom in some more here, maybe two. All right, now let me go ahead and autofocus it again, and I'll just move the color book around. And I might have to brighten it up just a tad there. All right, let's try that out. There we go. I'll choose a number for Gina since she's in the pin. Okay, you can do that. Thanks, Carrie. Okay, and thanks, mods, for helping out so much. Eileen and Carrie and Vicki BR. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of the orange. again, this is the acrylic paint. So that's why it's got some tooth for me to put this down here. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of an orange kind of glow, just a little bit around the edge here. And again, if you're not into color books and you don't think that you don't, don't be dissing on our color books. That's all I got to say. Oh, there's so much you can, even if it's the first time you've ever picked up a pencil, a marker, or whatever, it's a great way to learn all about different kinds of supplies. I mean, look at those charts I showed you. It's a great way to use, different kinds of, you learn your papers, you learn what blends on top of what. There's just lots of things. So, color books are excellent for learning many techniques, other than they're just plain fun. And if you don't like to have fun, you're in the wrong stream. Yeah, she does have a cute little button nose. Oh, let me show you one more thing on her face. So I added all the blue eyeshadow. I might not need to get that close since I'm already pretty close. I added some blue eyeshadow, and then I added a big bright white highlight. I added a white line on the top with, these are with gel pens. That's another, let me show you that. Just the Jelly Roll gel pens. Oops, sorry guys, let me get it situated again. The Jelly Roll gel pens. I added the white line on top of her eye, the white highlight in her eye, and I added some white eyelashes. So I did all that with the Jelly Roll jelly pen. Okay, I added the cheek color, and then you can see the shading around her face. I kept it pretty simple. Well, the skin, I didn't get too crazy with blending the skin. Her nose was already really defined, as were her lips. She had a little bit of some kind of lines for cheeks there, so I really accented them and made them round. I wanted them really defined as round cheeks. I did that on purpose. Add a little bit of red to her lips and a tiny bit of white gel pen there. The rest is just like 2 shades of flesh color. Maybe a little extra white down the middle of her face. But other than that, that's just a peach, a dark peach, a light peach, and some white. That's all that I added on her face. Okay. You like her eye makeup? Yeah, played with that. And then I just, this is just a red marker, and then shaded with the, let me move this again. Oops, sorry guys, bumped it again. Hang on, hang on. This is just a red, one of the markers. Let me get situated here because I got too many trays of stuff in my way. Just a red, one of the super tips. And when you see these with the black, they're the same kind of thing in the, as far as the tip goes. I got to remember not to get too close since I'm so zoomed in. They're just scented. They're the smelly ones. So if you see a set that has the black, all that's different about these is that they have scents, like smells. And I'll tell you that the orange one smells exactly like Fruit Loops. I mean, exactly. If you know what Fruit Loops smell like, it's Fruit Loops. That scent is the scent they use in Fruit Loops. Anyway, so all I did on her dress is I just did a solid color of marker, water-based marker, and then I just went on top of it with a, I think it was a, no, it was a plum, I think, or it might have been brown. It was either a dark purpley plum or a reddish brown, like maybe no, it wasn't cyan, it had to be a darker brown. So it was either one of these two. I don't even remember because I'll give you the same effect. Okay, so it was either a dark purple or a brown that I did some of the shading with. You do. It does. See, I see some of y'all are in there going, yep, it smells exactly like Fruit Loops. Anyway, so that's how I kind of did her dress. This blue is acrylic paint, and I haven't done anything to this yet. I'm going to make it look like this is water. Okay, I'm going to do water across here, and I'm going to have some waves kind of brushing up on top of her with some acrylic paint. Okay, and I'll make sure and accent Cynthia Batilia, Cynthia Batilia, and excuse me, Cynthia, if I'm saying it wrong, but anyway, I'll put a like a little water splash around her name to accent it. Okay, so I don't want, again, I don't want too much um, detracting from the bright yellow. I want to kind of keep it. I might go maybe a couple more circles around some of those little star things with just a little bit more of the orange. And then what I'll do is, now I want to make sure I don't have a harsh line. I want that orange to be very feathery. You want to try to feather it up. You want to blend, you got to take, and I was barely touching the acrylic paint. Again, look how lightly I'm going to touch. I'm barely touching that, and it just goes right on. Okay, this is acrylic paint, same thing. Now I'm going to go, oh, are you kidding me? I've got to find another pencil. This yellow is like, okay. I need to get out my luminance, my yellow luminance. All right, so I'm just going to go over that orange and just kind of, just so there's no harsh lines. Now, the circles I want kind of harsh. I want those kind of well defined. But the side areas here, where I want it to kind of feather out, so I'm just kind of going over the orange and kind of blending it into the acrylic paint. And if it's not blendy enough, I'll go back with the orange. But I just kind of want a little bit of a, orangey glow on the very edge. So I'm not really, it's a color book. Don't get freaked out. Enjoy it. So that's good. I just want a little bit of orange. Okay. All right, let's see if any questions. Oh no, this pencil. I know. Aren't they, Eileen? Yes. Gary, pencil down. Now, I'm not sure if I want this lime green. Lime green right here would be really pretty and really dramatic with the red, the yellow, and the teal or the turquoise. So I think that's what I'll do. So I'll just get, let's go with the polychromos, shall we? Let's get the, oh, these are the Faber-Castells. Let's get the, where are they? All right, let's get a light green. Now, I don't have a lime in this. Oh, wait, I think I have a lime in the ones that Eileen gave me. So let's go with the Caran d'Ache. I do try to use these whenever I think that I remember that the color I have. So I'm going to use this green and this green. Okay, I'm going to use the two bright greens, and I am going to have to sharpen it, which it will not break when I sharpen it. And for these, I use the larger. I have a large, there you go. Has the larger hole because these are a little thicker, okay? And they sharpen like butter. Look at that. Look how quick that was. All right, so now that's what I'm going to use these two greens on here. So I'm just going to cover the whole thing with the light green first. And she has a tiny little bear or something sticking out of her pocket. So I think I want to accent him. I think I'm going to get a pen. Hang on. Oh, here we go. After I get done coloring it, I'll add some like some bigger ears, and with just the Faber-Castell Pet pen. I use this, the waterproof. So if I add like those little wispy hairs or some balloon ties or this right here, that's just with a Pet pen. You feel like every time you open that Luminous box, you hear chorus singing. I know you do. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of put a light coat of green, lime green. Just a quick little lime green coat. Okay, they're smooth as butter, I'm telling you. But you got to remember, these pencils are like $5 each. So, maybe even more. I know you can get them on sale and stuff at Blick and Amazon and stuff. But, they're not cheap is what I'm saying. But, neither are these when they start breaking every time. The Prismacolor. But I'm used to my Prismacolors. That's what I've used for years and years and years, All right, so now I'm just going to go in here with the darker green and lightly do a little bit of shading on that second layer of grass behind this first one, and just maybe a little bit close to her body here. I'm just not going wild here. It's just a little bit of grass back there. I'm going to go around that little, it kind of looks like a little panda bear actually. And then I'll go back with the light green and just blend. It's just blending. I'm going right over the top of some areas, maybe a little shadow here or there. Again, I could put little lines to make it look even more my own, you know. Don't feel like you have to stay in the lines. You're the boss of your color book. So I'm just going back and forth between the light green and the dark green. Okay, that's enough. Just, just a little bit of green back there. All right. So now I'm going to go in here to the little, see that little guy right there? And I'm just going to make his little ears a little bigger. I got to set it down. I'll make his ears just a little bigger, just so he stands out. And maybe his little hand, you can see his little hand puff sticking up right there. Just because it's cute. Just watch, oh, then wait. Oh, wait, I've done that. Orla. Okay, so again, I just used the brown, or it was either the brown or the purple to make the darker shadows on the red. But I might even make it, I want it a little bit more, a little darker. I might even go in with some, I don't go in with dark black real often, but sometimes I do. So where's my black? All right, so now I'm just going to go in here and just along the edge, like in these little corners here, I'm just going to kind of put a little bit more black right along those points. And then I'll blend it in with the brown. And I could also, if it's not blendy enough right there, I'll go get a red. Again, this is a marker base on this one. I'm just blending on top of the marker. I want to keep that vibrancy of that red though. So just that little bit like that's fine. Okay, your color and not make copies. So do you think you'll ever do one of my portraits with luminous? If I have enough, I mean, I have to buy more. This set right here that I love, that Eileen gifted me, it has like one yellow, white, a couple of shades of brown, which I always usually use a sienna in my portraits, and but there's no real, there's kind of it's a yellow flesh kind of color. There's not I don't have any flesh colors, and I'd probably need at least other than a couple more pinks, probably about maybe at least 8 more shades of peaches. And that's just for a Caucasian person. I got a couple of browns and, I need it just depends. But I would need more portrait colors. Yeah, I need more color. That's it, Vicki. All right, so now what I want to do is, I think I'll, just because I want to show you more of it, I'm going to go ahead and do a wash on these trees. And I haven't even decided yet what colors I want to do. Oh, wait. Yeah, let me do the wash first, and I have to take a picture. I'm photographing this as I go, so I don't want to forget to photograph in the major stages. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm just going to get probably, this is just raw sienna, and this one's almost empty. So I'm going to have to I got to write down I need a new raw sienna. I don't need much, just a little bit there. Let me make a note to get, where's a post-it note? And a Sharpie. I need to make a note that I need a raw sienna. All right, so just that little bit. Let me get my water bottle. Okay, I have a fan on, and that's not probably helping with the. Let me turn it on. Probably not helping with the camera blowing in the wind, so to speak. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to use a spray bottle. Now, that's some black. I don't want to get that in there, but I'm just going to water that down, okay? Get a brush here, wet the brush. The reason I wet the brush is it makes it softer, and this isn't even the brush I want. It makes it softer, and it keeps the paint from getting up there and drying in that one is kind of dried in there. Didn't clean that one very good. Ah, here we go. All right, so I just want a little soft brush here. Get it wet. Dry it off. I mean, I damp it. I have a paper towel right under my water bucket, and then I just pat, get all the excess water out. But in this case, I'm going to water it down anyway, but that's just my normal procedure, is get the excess water out. So here we go. So I'm just going to get a wash here. If you're not sure what it's going to look like, keep a little piece of paper here to test, okay? So I just basically want to wash over all the wood. And I'm not worried about getting those little tiny limbs. I'll get that with color pencil. Same for that. All right, now a couple of things about this. One, again, it's because this paper is thicker that I'm able to do this. It will buckle if you have thinner paper, and whether that matters to you or not is totally up to you. But the reason I'm using a wash and not just full-on color is because with the wash, you'll still see the design underneath. In the sky here, I wanted it flat black, so that's just flat, no water acrylic, okay? But I want to see all the design under it, so I'm just doing, and I'm doing it lightly. I'm not adding, it is watered down, but I'm not like saturating it, okay? I'm just going to try to get like one quick coat over it. I'm trying to stay in camera here too. I just want a light brown as a base, okay, like that. And it is darker brown than it looks in camera. It's kind of flashed out a little bit. Let's see if I can. There, see, that's more the true color of what it is. It's kind of like it's a sienna. Okay, so now you do not want to go start coloring on that while it's wet. Do not color pencil on top of wet or damp paper. So I'll get my heat gun. You can get a hair dryer if you don't have a heat gun. You know, I mean, I think everybody here has one, but you know, if you're watching this and you don't have a heat gun. And it's also good to dry the back side. That it also helps prevent wrinkling. It doesn't prevent it 100%, depending on the thickness of your paper, but it does kind of help, you know, smooth it out back and forth. And you just got to make sure it's dry, 100% dry, even damp, and you're going to be pilling your paper. In other words, if I come in here and it's damp with a brown and I start coloring, you're going to see the paper start flaking off. Okay, you want this 100% dry. Actually, I can still feel it a little damp right there. Hey, Princess Buttercup! Okay. All right, so I'm not sure what colors I want to do right here, but I will at least want to get this shade done and the water. And I am zoomed in really close for you guys that are just coming in. Hopefully, you know, I can keep it in frame here back and forth. All right, so now I'm going to go with my, this is sepia, dark, you know, a dark brown, and I want a sienna. And I'm not going to go with too many colors right now. I just want this, just to keep it kind of simple. All right, so what we had talked with Cam about is we thought, well, that would be cool to have the tree be really light here on the edge where the light is hitting it and got darker and darker. Now, if you look real close at this, see all these, you know, areas like this, or it almost makes it look like a tree trunk bending. You know, look at it for a minute and you can start to see where you might want to shade. I'm just now just barely touching. Because this has got an acrylic paint wash on it, it's easy to just barely touch it. Maybe around that little wood knot right there. So right now I'm just kind of trying to get some texture going. Like, look right there. See how that goes up that way? And so this way you'll give it some dimension. This isn't even really the shading part yet as far as color shading. I'm just kind of finding the shadows. So just kind of see how they kind of just jump out at you. Don't overthink it. Just look at it. All right. So see how the tree trunk just goes around this way and around that way. So I'm just kind of really accenting what's already there. Okay. Right around here. Right there. Maybe a darker area right there. Okay. So hopefully y'all can see that happening. Maybe a little bit around the corner there. Okay, so that I'm just going to stop with that for a second, or maybe a little bit more down here. Now, in a bit, after we get it all, like the color on there, if you want to go in there and pick out a few little things, we'll do that too, okay? Right now, I'm just kind of trying to get a base color going on. Some base color and some form to the tree. All right, so can you see the difference between the two? Just by highlighting some of that. Bye, Di. Thanks for taking the time to stop in. She's a busy one, that Di. She lives in her car. Okay, so over here, again, see how you can see some of the... I'm just kind of picking it out a little bit. I'm trying to stay in camera. And so right now, so far, I've only used one color. And you can just, you know, look at it and see where you think you want your tree to flow. Welcome back, Jean. Oh, I'm sorry, Bridgeton. All right, so now I'm going to add, with the sienna color, I want this to be like the main kind of tree color, but I don't want to lose all that dark brown. I'm just going to lightly kind of go. I'm barely pushing on this. Because there's acrylic paint base, it's pulling the pencil right off the stick. I mean, I'm barely touching it. But because of the acrylic paint, the tooth is there. So I just want to get a little of that color in there. It's just a little base coat. Maybe get in there with some of those little tree limbs now. And some of this is, see those tiny little leaves? That is sometimes where you want to use your little markers that have the points on them. So I just want to get the little branches. And I'll get back real tight in there with the black when I go in there, like right around that leaf. See how I didn't get right around that leaf yet with the paint? I'll get in there real tight around those leaves with a color pencil. Okay, so let me grab one of those markers. Let me get the lightest green. Is this the lightest green? And I'll just go in there with a little, just the tiniest little bit of green on those leaves. Don't have to blend and shade and whatnot, just those tiny little leaves. You can if you want to, but I'm just saying, you know, I'm just adding just to make them green. That's it. And you can barely see them even, you know, even this close up. All right. All right, so now, okay, back over here with this terracotta. This is like a sienna color. I'm just going to add like a little bit of more color over the whole thing. So what I'm trying to show you here is you don't have to, even though I will go in and accent some of these lines, you don't have to go in there and color every little line. You don't have to do that. So some of those color books that have all those tiny little details, try doing some of this on some of those areas. Okay? Try doing some of this kind of thing rather than going in there with every tiny little, and some of those, like, I forget who it was talking about it the other day. You know, you can't even get in there with a marker. I mean, with a, yeah, I mean, they're tiny, 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 tiny little areas. All right, so there. Now I've got just a couple of base coats. Let me add a little bit more here. A couple of base coats of some browns. Okay. All right, so now I need to take a picture of this real quick, guys. So just excuse me real quick. Let me get my black background. Where is it? So I'm photographing things. I have different boards and things that are covered with black paper, which looks flashed out here, but I can set it up in front of me. Let's do this sideways here. And I'm just going to set my color book up real quick. Oh, I am going to have to tape that corner down like I did before. Okay, bump the camera. Yes, I know I bumped the camera. So I'm just going to see how it's kind of flaring up. You can take it and kind of bend it back. But when I want to take a quick picture, I just want to tape that down so it's not sticking up. All right, so I'm going to set that color book up right here. Kind of bend it a little bit more backwards. And I want to set in here the colors that I'm using. I'm using this black. Yeah, I need a black piece of paper. Hang on, guys. Ugh. I need to find a black piece of paper. I've been photographing all the stages on this one, so I don't want to not finish. So I'm just going to put a piece of black paper right there under it because I have white stuff all over the table. Pen marks and pencil marks. So I know you can't see what I'm doing, so just 1 second. And then I used the brown, the sienna, and a couple of greens. Where's my greens? These two greens for my luminance, and a black. And did I use anything else on this one section? I think that's all I used on that. All right, let me get my phone, take a quick snap. I'll take one far and then one close. I'm going to shadow. I can't see chat right now, guys. One moment. Okay, that's good. Alrighty, back with you. All right. These two have to go back in their home. All right, so now I want to do some more on the tree here. Trying to stay in the camera under there. All right, so again, what I wanted, my plan is to have this kind of lighter. So I'm going to go in a little bit more with the sienna color right along the edge. I'm going right over the dark brown now, and that'll keep it darker. And I am kind of going a little faster than I would normally go, but you know, we're streaming. So I think you can see how it's kind of looking. I might have a little bit of highlight here and there where those dark areas are, but I'm really concentrating on this is going to be the light area of the tree. Okay. This is the light side of the tree. And it's got a little whirl there. And maybe right up in here there's going to be a little light area. And then this is all going to be darker. So I'm just picking out a little bit. And this is totally subjective. You know, you just look at trees and think about where the light and shadow is. Okay. Now, after I do this, I'll probably go in there with a brown marker and just pick out a few of those lines. But right now, I'm just getting, this is the light side of the tree, because where the glow from the light is right there. I'm trying to stay in camera here. Any questions? We good? Oh, congratulations on your new baby. One of the girls just said her husband bought her a full set of Prismacolors. That's like having a new baby in the house. Anytime we get new pencils or anything like that. All right, so there we go. I think that's kind of maybe a little bit right in here. And I'll just go back and forth. I'm just trying to keep it kind of simple as far as the couple of colors. Now back here is where I'm going to want it really dark. So I'm almost going to want to blend in to the black background, but I still want you to, you'll still be able to see it, maybe not on camera. But I'm really going to start bringing the darks in from the side here, because I want this to look like it's more in the shadow. I'm trying to just keep moving it with the stay in camera. And we can get a little bit more darks back there with the marker too, a pointy marker. So I'm just going to I'm following along those lines, keeping it dark back here on this side. I don't want to get rid of every bit of it. I mean, I still want to see some of that under there, but I really want, and maybe that whirl right there, it's going to have darker right along that whirl. Okay, so you can kind of see it's darker on that side. You got to just keep going back and forth, you know, doing a little bit more blending. But what I'm trying to show you is you don't have to color in every single one of those little tree lines if you don't want to. But I can still see them. I don't know if you can see them on camera. I'll hold it up even closer here in a minute. Keep that really light right there. Okay. Same thing on this side. I want it real dark right along that edge. Because I want to have time to show you the water down here. What time is it anyway? Let me double check my time. Okay, we're good. We've been here an hour and 45 minutes, so we're good. I mean, I want to have time to finish this, is what I'm saying. I'll get the water in anyway. Okay, now I think I'll go in with even a lighter brown, almost like a tan color. Let's see. Probably a flesh color would blend in well. And what I want to do is just kind of pick out a few, rather than using white, I just want to pick out a few like little lighter areas and blend here close to the edge. Okay. And then we go in there with the marker and you'll see it'll make certain areas stand out. I'm kind of hurrying, but I think you're getting the idea. Okay, real quick now. Still need a little bit more blending over here. All right, so now if you take like a brown marker, pointy, let's see which one do I want to use. Do I want the darkest one or the lighter one? Let me test it out. I'm going to take either one of these or maybe both. Let's start with the lighter one. And now what I'll do is come in here, and I'm not even going to try necessarily to get in the particular lines, but I want lines. So I'm going to just kind of follow some of the lines. I want this side to be darker, so I'm just going to follow some of the lines. I'm not trying to get inside. I'm not trying to get inside every little line there. I'm just trying to get essence of tree lines, okay? Can you see how that's working? I'm not trying to stay in the line. I'm just following the contour of what is already there and just adding a few extra dark lines there. So it gives it more dimension, more detail, but I'm not having to color in every single line. And when you're up close to this, you can see how you can still see every little tree line. So I'm just going to go all, maybe a couple little areas, those tiny little branches. I'm just following along some of the lines that are already there. And you can spend as much time as you want or as little time as you want, but I'm just showing you some of the little kind of shortcuts, if you will, where you don't have to color in every little twig or whatever. Yeah, these are those cheap set of Recollections, Michael's brand. And see, the caps don't stay on them very well either. They're only $5. Actually, they're $4.99, and that's without a coupon. I think I used a coupon and got them for like, less than $3. And I don't expect them to last forever, but what I like about them is the tiny, and there you go, got a little bit of, felt coming off there. But I'm just able to do a few little quick little lines with them. Yeah. All right, so I'll go back in here with the sienna again, and kind of shade it in here and there. I got to let that dry, you know, or I can take a heat gun to it. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys, um, you don't have to go in there with every single, where's my brown? Every little line. You can just do, a few, whether it's with pencil or marker. And then you can go back and blend a little more. I'll go in there with a couple shades of brown. Okay, just to kind of give you an idea. And again, this is black acrylic paint, and you can go in there once you've got whatever else in there you want. I mean, I could still add, if I wanted to, I could add stars in here with white acrylic paint on top of anything. But not with, you can't do those swirls like that on top of solid black color pencil. So if you missed where I talked about that, showing you the difference here, color pencil over acrylic paint, the exact same, actually harder pressure on top of black pencil. Look, you can't even see it. Okay, it's a little fleck right there. Okay, now I'm going to still want to do a little bit more blending and stuff in the trees here. Okay, I'm going to want to play and shade a little more, but I'm not trying to get inside every little tree line. Okay, I'm doing it with just a big blend of color. All right, again, I'll go back and play with that, but I want to have time to do the water. All right, so let me move that out of the way, and let's see if I can move this up a little. Okay, like I want a little darker brown right down here in the crevice. I do want to do this part right now because I'm getting ready to go over it with some white acrylic paint, and I don't want to have to try to edge back inside of there. So I do want to make sure that I have the color that I want down here on the edge, because I want this side to, the back side and the bottom here to be a little darker. Okay. Maybe even just a tiny, tiny bit of black right along the edge there. Because I'm getting ready to put paint on this. Okay. Okay. You kind of see. And again, I added that lantern. Just drew one in there to give it like there was a reason for the glow. Because without a light source like that, there was really no reason for her to be bathed in yellow light. So I wanted a light source, so I drew a lantern. And again, it's a little flashed out, but you can tilt it a little so you can kind of see. All right, so let me go ahead and do this part down here. And what I'm going to do, a couple things. Get I'll probably want to get, do I want Prussian blue, or do I just, I think I'll just add a little, let me get a fresh palette here. I don't want to accidentally pick up that brown. So I'm just going to add a little bit of Prussian blue. And again, these are going to be whatever colors, you're working with. And then this color was Calypso blue, but I want to go a little bit lighter. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Bahama blue and some white. Okay, just a little bit of, I don't need much because this is a small area. Let me get some white. So I hope y'all are enjoying just some color pencil coloring techniques. Okay, I need a pokey tool. That's dried in there. I never close these things. Okay. So it's got some dark blue, some Calypso blue, and some white. And I may not use much of that. I'm going to see how I blend it out if I like it. So I'm just going to take my brush here and I'm just going to try to blend out some of that. Got too much water in my brush. I want it to be just a little bit darker shade. I probably should have went with the Payne's Gray, but let's see. No, it's not dark enough now. Love this so much. Oh, good. Hey, Trina, by the way. All right, so I'm just going to try and I want to get a little bit of shadow under some waves, and I'm going to have it coming up around the corner. Okay, I'm just not just a little bit. I just want a little bit something darker. Okay, that's all I'm going to do right there. Maybe a little bit more there. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. As far as some dark color, get it to the edge and off the edge. Oh, the other thing, that's how I got these colors like that. I put it underneath. So you make sure you put something underneath so that you don't want your color book pages to stick to each other. Okay, so put something between where you're painting, where you go off the edge, because you don't want to, if you get that paint on the next page, they're going to stick. Okay. All right, so just that's all I really want. Okay, clean my brush, and I want it very dry. I dried it off really well. Now I'm going to take the light blue here, and I'm just going to kind of just do a little bit of the light blue. I'm kind of trying to make it look kind of, a lot of movement here. Okay, just a little bit of blue, light blue. Maybe just a little bit more right in. Oh, see, I picked up the dark. I don't want all that in there. Well, it's okay. Let's just kind of wash some of it off. I got them too close together. Let me go back over here with on this side. Use my finger in there and just kind of blend some out. I'm not going crazy because I want that base coat blue to be the show. All right, so there's enough blue under. Now I'm going to go with the white to make it look wavy. And then you can go in there with color pencil as well. All right, so now I'm just going to think a second here. I think I'm going to dry that so I'm not smearing I don't want the blue to come up into there. I should take a picture of this real quick. Hang on, guys. I am going to take a picture of this stage real quick because that's kind of an important stage. Hang on. Give me a minute. I'm going to set my color book up right here. I'll try not to bump the camera again. Put my little thing of paint and a brush so you can tell it's paint, and maybe one or two of the little paint colors here so you can tell it's paint, and a brush and a picture. Okay. Okay. All right. Now onto the white. Now I think what I wanted to convey is it's kind of swirling around and fluffing up right here. And the same thing, like, let me start down here. I want the name of the artist to be highlighted. Cynthia. I'm putting this on pretty thick, but a light touch. I mean, the paint's thick, no water in the paint, the white. But it's a light touch, so it kind of skips, you know, it's not solid. Can y'all see what I mean? Kind of skips over the paper to make it look a little foamy like. And so because the dark is under there, the light is going to show up really well. Looking good? Okay, thanks, Vicki. So maybe it's a little bit of a swirly thing coming up here. And this is where I'm going to go right up over the top of her. It's a little bit of splash. You can get your fingers in there and blend too. But it's a very light touch. I'm barely touching. The paint's thick. There's no water in there. It's very thick. Okay, there's quite a bit on my brush, but I'm not hardly touching. I'm barely touching. See, I got a little heavy-handed right there. You can splash it as much as you want right there. Let's kind of curl it in a little. Let's splash it into the area. Seeing that little bear is holding on for dear life. Okay, so let's have a few waves coming up here. Don't overstress it. I mean, you think, oh, that one's not perfect. Well, it's okay. Just move on. I want this to kind of come like that. Kind of around like this. Have a couple more wisps. Oops. So that's pretty much all I'm going to do with that. Now what I want to do, though, to make it look a little bit more watery, maybe it needs one more little wave right here, I think. Oh, maybe that's a little too big. I'm going to move on. I'm just trying to give it a couple of layers of dimension here. Okay, like that. I think that's good. Maybe there's one kind of splashing over this way a little bit. Over the top. Like that, maybe? What do y'all think? Like that? Maybe it needs a little bit more over here off the edge. And again, where's my card? I want the name to be, blend that out to the edge. Might have to put another coat right there to get rid of the blue under there if I really want to. All right, so now what I'm going to do is with that, maybe one more like coming over the edge here. Flip that edge over. Something like that. I don't want to get too much. I mean, like that's enough. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and water down that white now. Okay, I'm going to water that down. And you don't have to do this splattering. You can do it with a gel pen if you want to be more exact. But I'm going to get a fluffy brush, real fluffy. Okay, and I'm going to cover up her because I don't want splashes on her. Okay, so I'm going to kind of get in here with the fluffy brush, real soppy. See, it's a real soppy brush. And I'm going to cover her up and just do a few little splatters. Okay, let's go this way. I'm being very careful and gentle where I'm splattering. Maybe another one right here. Maybe just a couple up into the tree because you can see it splashing. There we go. That's all. That's all I want to do right there. Leave it like that so you can kind of see. Now I probably will put another coat of white right there to kind of blend her name in. I left that square white around her name. But I don't want to cover up her name. Okay, and again, I have a couple little splashes just to make it look a little more realistic. I could probably put a couple on her, but I want to be more specific. So what I would probably do instead of like hitting it with the wet watered down paint, I'd probably just go in here with a gel pen and maybe do a couple little, tiny splatters on her. So it looks like it's splatter, but it's not too, just a little bit like that. And also, now let me dry it first, but I want to show you that you can go in here with a gel pen and get a couple more little extra little lines if you want. Just go in there and get a few more little splashes, something like that. Okay, let me dry it because I don't want to smear my splashes. Thanks, Carrie. And this is why I had to get my color right there darker, because I wouldn't want to go but try to get in there in between those waves with a color pencil. And again, I'm kind of wanting this very dramatic black back here. So I'm really not wanting to put any stars. I like a lot of stars in my work. But in this case, I just want to leave those. Okay, let me go ahead and back out now. And re-autofocus. Hang on, guys. Get something for my camera to focus on here. So you can kind of see, I'll try to keep the flat, there we go, the window light off of it so you can see the true colors, because that's very, very black, very black. So you can kind of get an idea. Now you can still see I want to get a little bit more, definition in some of the tree limbs there, maybe with some marker, a few more lines, but I'm not trying to get in there and color in those lines. Okay, I'm just gonna, and I have to finish her, her little hoodie, her Wolfie hoodie, which I'll probably do in some blues and grays. But I have to photograph this again. And then I'll finish everything up, and some of these little details in her little collar here, I'll do with marker. Okay, that's all good to do with marker in there. So hopefully you can see how the bright blue, the green, the red, and the contrast of the black with the yellow, how it all just makes it very vibrant. So I will, when I finish all that up, I'll take a picture. Again, there's not really a whole lot to see in this. Maybe, let me just do a little bit of the shadow here, like with the blue or gray. Because I'm going to do it like a wolfy kind of thing. What's that one? Where's my... No, I'm looking for my blue-gray here. Where is the blue-gray? Oh, there it is over there. That one not sharpened. Oops, sorry guys, I hit my head on the thing again. All right, let me just sharpen a new one here. But I like this is blue slate. Is a good gray shadow, blue-gray shadow. I'm not going to sharpen it too much. I don't want to take a chance. But I'll just hold it up real quick. So what I'll do is where I want a little bit more shadow, even though it's going to be like dark grays, I'm still going to, have a bit of a shadow. So you can see I'm not trying to go in between every little line. When you can just do a general area like this to get the shadow. See? Then I'll go in there with, more color or whatever. But I want it to be shadowed like right around her face here. Okay. Same for on this side. Probably under that ear. And kind of feather it out lightly because I'm going to have other colors over there. So you can kind of see some of the shadows there. And it might take a little bit darker gray depending on how dark I get Wolfie's head. Bye, Vicki. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm glad I didn't kick you out. I accidentally, for if anybody's wondering what that means, Vicky BR. I call her Vicky. And I went to mod her one day because she's one of my regular mods. I went to mod her and accidentally kicked her out. Okay. And so also, let me just, like I said before with the white, anything that's like, if this was going to be, let's just say I was going to leave that white or this bit white. Okay. Well, instead of just leaving it pure white, you can put a shadow in there of a blue gray, even though that's a white. Just putting a little shadow under there of a blue gray just makes it, like here, like the underwear. Where's my underwear? Oh, here. Just like on him. I wanted these boxers and these little socks. I wanted them to be white, but I wanted them to have some shading to them, so I just used the blue. So you can see. It just adds a little something there. So anyway, guys, I guess I'll let y'all go. I hope y'all enjoyed it and got some ideas, and just so you can see you can use other mediums other than just, pencils. Use your paints. You can use watercolor, markers, whatever. But just remember that if you have a base coat of a acrylic paint, your color pencils will just pop and go over it. Whereas if that was just solid pencil like this, like here, let me show you again. This is acrylic paint. That is just solid color pencil. Here it is. I'm going over it with, that's going over it with pencil. And no matter how much pressure I put, look, I am bearing down as hard as I can. Look, here, I'll go off the edge. You cannot get that. You cannot get this on solid color pencil. So if you want your sky or backgrounds a dark color, start with your base coat of acrylic paint. Then do any details that you want with color pencil, and then go around that with your dark black to get it velvety, okay? Because you can't get color pencil over a solid black pencil like you can acrylic paint, okay? All right, guys, well, I hope y'all enjoyed that. Thanks for giveaway. Okay, giveaway. Oh, Vicky had to leave. Dang, she's really good at helping me out with the giveaway. Get her back here, Carrie, for 5 minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away one of Martha's things. Okay, I'm going to give one of Martha's little prints away that she has matted. Okay, this is the Believe one, and yeah, it's matted and it's in plastic. This is not the card, this is an actual little matted print. Wait for it. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere yet, people. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So we're going to give away one of Martha's little prints. And I know there's a lag. I'll make sure there's plenty of time. So let me give the rules first again. Wait till I type in the word go. When you see me type in the word go, you'll have a couple minutes. Put in a number between 1 and 100. Between 1 and 100. The closest, without going over, will get this. One number only, please. Okay? Everybody got that? All right? One number only, closest without going over. I'll do a random.org. And Carrie, I got your tapping shoes on so you can help me. Everybody can help me go scroll back when we're done. But I'm going to put in a random.org in a minute. Okay? Let me just bring it up first. So everybody be thinking of a number while I find. Let me go to. And I'll generate it under the camera, but I'm not going to generate it till everybody puts in a number. So hang on. Go to random.org. Okay, I have random.org right here. You can't see it right there, but I'll put it up to the camera in a minute. Okay, so we have it ready. At the ready. Okay? All right. One number only. Everybody's going to want to participate in this one. And then I'll give it plenty of time. Got a full minute here. You got another full minute, guys. So just, it's fine. You'll have time to put in a number. One number only. Yes, between 1 and 100. Between 1 and 100. Thanks, Carrie. So everybody just put in a number, and in a minute, when you see when I'll put in the word stop in a minute. So everybody has time to get a number in, and then I'm going to generate the number, and then we'll see who wins. So we're going to give this one little early Christmas present to somebody. Where's my marker so I can write down who wins? Marker. Here we go. Okay, thanks, Carrie. Carrie's putting in a couple numbers for people that cannot get into chat. So thanks, Carrie. Okay. You only need to put it in once because we'll scroll back. And if you put it in more than once, we count the first time you put it in. Don't put your number in 10 times, people. One number, one time. One time. Yes, it's the first person that puts in the number, whatever. If you put your number in 10 times, it's going to go back to the very first time you put it in. Just put in one number, guys. One number. This is why we get frustrated with giveaways. Okay. One number only. All right. I don't see anybody else putting in any more numbers. All right. So I'm going to put in stop. All right. So that's it. You had plenty of time to put in a number. Now we're going to generate a number. Okay. So here we go. Let me bring it up here. Between 1 and 100, I'm going to generate, and the number is 27. Whoever's closest to 27 without going over. So y'all can all look for me. That doesn't count, Miss Yancey. I already put in stop. After I put in stop, that's it. I gave y'all plenty of time. Okay? So whoever before I put in stop, 27 is the number. Closest without going over. so we can all scroll and look. Did anybody get 27 right on the nose? I'm going to scroll too. We all can scroll. Thanks again, everybody, for being here. Clicking, clicking, clicking. Okay, I see. It looks like it was Twinkle. Did Twinkle at 27? Okay, so it looks like it's Twinkle. So Twinkle, and I'm 99% sure I have your address because I think I've sent you an art card. Twinkle, can you make sure I have your address, please? Make sure I have your, and again, I don't mind sending international for giveaways. I don't mind internationals for giveaways, but if somebody buys something and it gets lost, then I can't do that. I can't do that. So, okay. So Twinkle, make sure, Carrie, will you put my address in there? I mean, my email again. Twinkle, if you'll double check with me your address, and I'll send you a Martha Believe. Yeah. Did you grab it, Twinkle? Got my address? Let me double check. Let me look in my file. I want to make sure I have you. If I don't have you, make sure. I'm looking under T for Twinkle. Yes, I do have your address, Twinkle. Okay, I do have your address, so we're good. And you're in UK. Okay, I got it. Yep, I do have it. Okay, I want to put it on the back here. So, all right, there you go. So Twinkle won. So thanks, guys, for playing and participating. You're welcome. Yep, I'll see it. I don't know if I'll get over to Rose. She's going to be on, but Jean comes on at 4. I'm too slow. So I really appreciate everybody being here for Color Book Day and looking at Miss Martha's and everybody else's happy mail. And so we will be seeing you. Bye, guys. Y'all have a good day. We'll see y'all at Jean's. Bye.